Welcome to Sustainability Next dialogue series, Dr. Subramanya Kusnur. Huge congratulations for all the achievements you've made in the last uh, year since you started. And thank you for your time for joining Sustainability Next in this for this conversation. Um, a brief introduction about Sustainability Next. It is a 10-year-old magazine started in 2013. Its mission is to uh, drive sustainability thinking among students, entrepreneurs, and uh, executives to drive sustainability agendas both in their personal lives and also in the businesses they work in. So uh, this magazine uh, is largely focused on the business of sustainability, the stories of entrepreneurs, and so that we uh, budding entrepreneurs get inspired and more enterprises uh, flourish in India. I think a nation can be built by entrepreneurs. So uh, that's the focus we have. Uh, why is Dr. Subramania's screen is not coming up? The main, I mean, not the.
Maybe because the view of yours will be according as to the person who's talking. So probably that.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so I'd like to start with a simple question, which I picked up looking at your website. So, how did you pick this? Your tagline as humanizing sustainability. I think it's such a powerful tagline. I was drawn to it first the minute I saw your website.
Yeah, actually, the whole idea, what the journey that we have gone through over the last 13 years since we started the business of water and sanitation, it all began with a technology, which we thought would be a game-changing activity as far as redefining the way drinking water treatment is done in the country. So the innovation that we did in our technology was based on a lot of research, on-ground research, and traversing across the country in the name of advocating sustainability, as we say today, but at that time, trying to find business. But these experiences showed us a very stark, situation, which essentially saw that all the interventions that were done in drinking water did not sustain beyond a point.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the key reasons we saw was non-availability of electricity.
Okay.
Because the most actively used technology, even now, is reverse osmosis.
Yeah.
It is heavily dependent on electricity. And unfortunately, after a period of time, when there is no electricity, the membrane, which is supposed to be treating the water, becomes a source of infection and contamination. And that's how they get abandoned. Because a lot of capital cost has gone inside in doing this activity. So that's when we said that, just giving equipment doesn't help. Water is not an equipment and not a filtration story.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the consumer, who is a human being.
Yes.
And it is about a nature which is producing water.
Yes.
So the machine and the technology is only a catalyst.
Yes.
So that's when we said that nature is a divine force. We really don't know how water is generated. But consumers are human behaviors. And water is life. That's when we said, over a period of last 13 years, after having harvested, treated, and distributed billions of liters of water, we found one thing, that if there is no community participation, if there is no human participation, and in human, again, especially if there is no women participation, none of these rocket sciences will ever sustain. That's why I say the fulcrum of sustainability is a human being.
Yes, I think that's a really cornerstone of your enterprise. And I think it's a massive lesson to everyone, all the policymakers who drive sustainability as if it is just the policy and technology to be.
So, ironically, as we drive, and I'm also a part of the governing council of the UN Global Compact Network, And we see they have converted, the entire industry has converted sustainability into some sort of a science, some sort of a denominator. But the core to sustainability is water.
Yeah.
You have seen, and even in our G20, a lot has been spoken on carbon, climate, controlling carbon emissions,
Yes.
scope 1, scope 2, scope 3.
Yes.
But the water is completely missing the narrative.
Yes.
And if there is no water, there's no sustainability.
Yeah. I
So
think
what
it's been ambushed. Sustainability and climate has been ambushed by carbon, and
Absolutely.
water
And
and
carbon is blurry. Water you can measure.
yes.
Carbon is totally blurry. Today, nobody knows what is sequestration, how much oxygen is coming out from a tree plant. Nobody really knows. Water is finite.
Yeah. So how are you trying to push this agenda that water is equivalent or even more important than carbon?
So we are finding our own smaller successes. And incidentally, that the only forcing function in the country for water is by the Pollution Control Board, which essentially talks about the amount of BOD and COD, that's biological oxygen on demand and chemical oxygen on demand, which is in wastewater. Whereas there is no control in terms of drinking water. There is no calibration in terms of how much you can use. Water use and efficiency is just starting to take this thing. So let me, if you don't mind, I'll just step back to our genesis. So we'll be able to give a reference to the context of how we started and where we have come and what we want to do next.
That'll be nice.
Yeah. So
briefly.
Very, very briefly, it will not take more than 100 seconds.
Sure.
So being a banker, I quit this entire fledgling job at the peak of my financial services career to get into this, only to see and intrigue that there was a solution which was an equal measure for making clean drinking water available to one and all. And water has a direct impact on public health, and the spend on public health has got a direct impact on GDP. So we said that if we are able to give access to water, and if we are able to give clean water, we will be able to actually contribute to the bottom line of the country over a period of time. What started as a journey in terms of promoting this technology. So our technology works on gravity. We do not waste water like reverse osmosis, and there is no sludge. A village level plumber can operate, manage, and maintain this entire thing. There is no dependence on us at all. Similarly, we have created biodigesters where there's no water needed for flushing for toilets. Fecal matter gets converted into liquid fertilizer, flows into the ground, enabling groundwater recharge. Finally, we have a sewage treatment technology, which again functions on a similar principle of gravity, uses a bioprocess, and unlike conventional STPs, which recover 50% water, we recover 98% water. So, to cut the whole story short, me myself have traveled more than 9,000 villages right now, from Assam to Kanyakumari, barring 3 states. So we understand the ground level challenges and the problems across regions. What happens in Northeast does not work in Karnataka. What works in Maharashtra doesn't work in Madhya Pradesh. Forget that. Within this village next to each other also, there is no similarities. So that's why we thought that active participation by the community, number one. Number two, doing grassroots level advocacy at the school and the college in terms of water stewardship and sustainability has really been a key and cornerstone of success right now.
Yeah. So you're exactly doing what is needed.
Exactly.
I mean, and the biggest challenge for India is such a big country. I think we need 25 or even 100 aquacrafts to.
We need 10,000.
10,000. Okay.
We need 10,000. Country is very versatile, very diverse.
Yeah, 10,000 aquacrafts we need.
Yeah, we need people who have patience, who have resilience. People call us mad. They ask us, you could have been a unicorn if you had sold reverse osmosis. I said, I'm a unicorn today with the smiles on the face of the children who enjoy clean water.
I mean, wow, that's a quotable quote.
I don't need, my denominator of success is not wealth. My denominator of success is how many lives I've been able to impact.
Mm. So coming to
And
that, can you give me some numbers of how many lives you impacted and how many water and sanitation you put down just to,
okay, so to give you a brief activity, we are active in 9 states in the country,
okay.
and our key focus has been schools.
Mm.
And millions of children have been impacted by interventions in schools, where we provide clean drinking water systems, we provide bio toilets,
Mm.
we encourage schools to do rainwater harvesting, we help them do that.
How
And
many
then
schools? How many schools?
I think we've done more than 2.5 to 3,000 schools till now.
I mean, that's quite a big number, 2,000, 3,000. Some say 2,000.
So exactly. So why I'm telling you this, because we have done most of them ourselves. A lot of our partners have gone and implemented our technologies. That is, I don't know the exact
So
number.
about 3,000, I guess.
Around 3,000 is what you can talk about. And we've not just given drinking water and sanitation. In quite a few schools, we have given biodegradable sanitary pads. We have created, sustainability councils in schools, which comprise of children from the 8th, 9th, and 10th standard, who not only, monitor the entire activity, but give us continuous reports in terms of how the school is doing. We encourage children to plant water retention plants on the boundary of the schools.
Wow, okay.
So that our idea is to make every school water positive.
Oh, that's exact.
Wherein not only in the school can children drink water, but also we have seen they're taking water back to their home as well. So even as far as sanitary pads are concerned, girls, we give them extra sanitary pads so that they don't even use it for themselves, but all the women in the house. So we're trying to proliferate this kind of sustainability. It's a very, very tacit way of promoting it, but it's a very impactful way of doing it.
So how many communities are you working with?
We are today communities, totally we should be working with around between 450 to 460 communities.
Amazing, yeah, 460 communities.
Yeah, and this is across 9 states and villages primarily. We have not done anything in the urban areas. As you see, urban areas in some way or the other get addressed.
Yeah.
Whereas the rural areas are totally bereft of this entire activity. So we have not just water system, we've done a lot of rainwater harvesting projects, we've done a lot of groundwater recharging projects. We have trained people to do rainwater harvesting. So there is a direct impact, there's an indirect impact. Because
let me come back to the larger question. So how can we get the government or everyone else to give more prominence to water and not so much to carbon?
Well, it is a global phenomenon.
It's a global, yeah, right.
Yeah, so our country has been doing fantastically well. I mean, we should give credit to them. What they've done in Jal Jeevan Mission, what they've done in Atal Bhujal Yojana, what they have done in Catch the Rain program. Swachh Bharat Gramin 2 is laying a lot of emphasis on rural sanitation and water security. They come up with water budgeting, water accounting. And if you see the Honorable Jal Shakti Minister, not to flatter him at all, but if you ask him today, he'll have data on his fingertips as of this morning on the progress of each of these schemes. So the Jal Jeevan Mission has really gone, the Har Ghar Nal scheme has been a very, very nameplate program that India has done. India has given focus to a lot of water, but from a global compliance standpoint, and with a lot of activity happening in the UN and a lot of activity happening in the COP. Even in the COP, if you see, in the Conference of Parties last year in 27 and now in 28, which is happening in Dubai right now, you don't see mention of water. Water is only one of the thematic areas. Whereas it should be the center of the whole thing. But we've been able to succeed in terms of talking to various UN agencies, a lot of corporates, especially the alcohol companies, the beverage companies, the FMCG companies, who are basically very, very high on water consumption. They are already doing some amount of water stewardship in their own way. We are now trying to structure that. That's where we innovated the world's first digital water bank.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. So this essentially was the idea that, we did a lot of work as far as treatment is concerned, and then we went on to rainwater harvesting, and then we went on to giving water positive toilets and things like this. But we thought there has to be a proper accountable measure. That's
Yeah.
when we came up with a program called as a water balance sheet.
Yeah, I was coming to that question. I think the biggest problem with one of the larger problems with water is that it's not measured. So I see that two of your schemes are very well connected with that. One is the water sustainability score that you
Correct.
have,
Correct.
and the water balance sheet. So
And the water
how,
credits.
yeah, so how easy is for people to, or how challenging is for people to adopt these scores or measures?
So, to be very, very frank, Benedict, every day is a new challenge for us.
Hmm.
And whatever we have done till now is unconventional.
Mhm. Mm.
We started off it as an idea because we had conviction into it. We took it from an idea to a concept, from a concept to a practice to implementation, and from implementation to sustainability.
Mm.
So, whatever we do it with a lot of conviction. And all this comes about from on-ground knowledge that we are seeing.
Mm. Mm.
It is not that we are creating some Eureka product or something like that. This is what the country needs today. The government of India has now started, the Jal Shakti Ministry has now started the formation of the National Board of Water Use and Efficiency.
Mm.
Okay, which essentially will be talking about controlling and calibrating the use by various stakeholders, that would be industry, agriculture, individuals, communities, so on and so forth. But we thought that two main areas which consume the maximum water in the lower priority. One is industry, which consumes certain amount of water, and maximum is consumed by agriculture.
Agriculture, yeah.
So we thought that let's try and create a model with this thing. So our idea has always been not to go and get scale like a unicorn saying that I am across the country, I'm doing say a million liters every day. No.
Mm.
Our idea is to create sustainable models, make them sustainable, and then franchise it out to partners and other people to replicate it across.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's the only way to scale. Otherwise,
Exactly.
Otherwise, you need to loads of capital if you want
Correct.
to do.
So, come 2024 January, we are rolling out a water franchisee entrepreneurship program where we aim to incubate one entrepreneur in every district.
Which 2024? When?
January.
January. Okay, that's a good announcement.
Yeah. So we're basically trying to do that, where we are creating a nodal entrepreneur in each district who will be a hub, and then every cluster of 500 villages will have a spoke. With this, everybody doesn't need to do everything.
Correct.
So we'll sit across a village. Somebody can do IT, somebody can do implementation, someone can do contact support, someone can do manufacturing. And each of these things we'll try and blend and build a proper entrepreneurial story akin to the aptitude of the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Rather than
will you also be seed funding it?
Well, there are a lot of programs which are there in Government of India, like the Prime Minister's Employment Guarantee Program, which essentially gives around 50 lakhs collateral free to entrepreneurs. So we have aligned all these schemes together. We have well researched all these.
That's a very good capital. 50 lakhs.
Exactly. So we will also, whichever entrepreneur we are incubating, we will hold a minority stake in that, so that there is fiduciary control.
Correct.
Because when there is a borrowing from the state, it's important for us to inculcate fiduciary governance and how that thing is spent. So we're trying to build an entire digital framework around this. Where we can, the whole idea is to drive our own SOPs, our technologies, our precision engineering, our implementation models. So this is the next level of, so what we did, Aquacraft 1.0, we innovated technologies. Aquacraft 2.0, we innovated sustainable models. Aquacraft 3.0, we will franchise it and extrapolate it across the country today.
So you're at a 3.0 phase now?
The 3.0 phase will start in January.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and it'll also see us going global. Sri Lanka as a country has recognized us their sustainability partner. And we are in the process of...
We still have so much to solve here. Why are you going global?
And the model will go there. Go global.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah.
The core will be India, because the versatility of problems that you get in India get anywhere in the world.
That's true.
So if you can solve a problem in India, you can solve 80% of the problems globally.
True.
And then locally, the partner is incumbent to find another 20% solutions for the others.
Yeah.
So what we did was we created this concept of a water balance sheet. We looked at the industry because industry is the one which is market facing, consumer facing.
Yeah.
So we do a complete water audit of them. We understand their water use and efficiency, create a water balance sheet like a cash balance sheet. And then what comes out is 3 kinds of balance sheets: water positive balance sheet, water neutral balance sheet, water deficit balance sheets. Water positive balance sheets will be issued water credits, which we call as aqua credits, like carbon credits. And water deficit balance sheets can offset their deficit by buying these water credits on our platform.
Oh, that's very interesting. Water credit, yeah. Just like carbon credit.
Just like carbon credit, but measurable, auditable to the last decimal.
Oh, so you're saying that is it I've never heard of this water credit.
Yeah, we've just started it, and we are getting, like carbon, we are making it a voluntary participation. And after we get a water positive balance sheet, we create a water sustainability score, which we have started with Leo Burnett, the leading advertising agency, which essentially brands your sustainability.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now the first corporate to onboard is Bangalore International Airport Limited, who has got a score of 81 out of 100. And what happens is this branding can be put in all your products. For instance, as a FMCG company, they can put it in all their products. And the consumers, we're targeting the consumers who are the youth, which is 60% of the country, to make sustainable choices, rather than saying that they are very, very conscious. So give them a platform and an opportunity to make sustainable choices. And that's the way we are driving the sustainability story within the corporates while inculcating the culture of sustainability in consumers through buying. So to answer the first question that you asked, how we are going about this entire activity is, and this essentially allows us implement greener methods, give greener solutions to corporates, and focus heavily on 2 main aspects. One is rainwater harvesting, which is natural. Second thing is sewage water treatment in recycling.
Yeah.
So that your dependence on the natural footprint is reduced dramatically.
Yeah. Cool. So we are trying to wrap this up as a 30-minute interview. So we have 3 more minutes, rather 5 minutes. We started 2 minutes late. Yeah. So how would you measure your impact, Dr. Kusnur, so far?
It's a very good question.
Yeah.
And we actually, frankly speaking, have not given a thought to it, because we want to get a lot of stakeholders. We have a lot of buy-in from our governments. A lot of state governments are giving us mandates to implement programs. We are buying from corporates. We're buying from non-profits. We do a lot of work with the Art of Living, Shri Ravi Shankar's thing, where they've done a lot of water conservation. We've issued water credits to them as well. So at this point in time, all we would say is that if you ask, the impact that we have created is that we've been able to incubate our philosophy in all the stakeholders at this point in time. And our philosophy is nothing else but standard philosophy, where water is core to sustainability. It needs to be given more respect, and it needs to be given more policy, more regulation, and more forcing functions as far as water use and efficiency. We've incubated the thought, long way to go, but we are confident of getting there.
Thank you so much for your time. We'll continue this conversation later, but for this interview as such, thank you so much, Dr. Kusnur, for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope.
And I'm really, really proud that you're doing such an amazing work. And yeah, all the best for your future. I think
thank you so much, Bendict.
Have many more years to make a much bigger impact.
With your blessings and with your support, I'm sure we'll be able to do that. And thank you so much for speaking to us, understanding what we try to do. All we request is try and proliferate that need for water and respect for water as much as possible as core to sustainability. That's our
that's our mission, because you hardly have any media that focuses on sustainability. And so we are here just for that. And wish us also good wishes for our mission.
Of course, definitely. And we'll share a lot of our stories. If you feel it could be used for, furthering our common cause of
Yeah.
sustainability, please
Yes.
feel free to let us know. We will be always there to try and do our humble bit in
Yes.
terms of taking this ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Jai Hind.